Hey everyone, World Film Geek here, and I have the pleasure of interviewing horror novelist and filmmaker Gregory Lamberson. He is best known for hits such as City Massacre, Killer Rack, and Johnny Gruesome. His latest film, Widow's Point, is coming on DVD and on demand on September 1st from 101 Films. I hope you guys enjoy the interview. I got to watch Widow's Point, and I really enjoyed the film. I felt it was both like a haunted house tale and, in some ways, a mini anthology. And I thought you did an excellent job directing the film.
Oh, thank you very much. It definitely is borderline anthology. The novella that it's based on actually has a lot more short story flashbacks in it. But I was afraid that if I had all of them in there, it actually would be an anthology, and I wanted to restrict just enough flashbacks to the first half of the film and then have Craig's storyline take over for the second half.
That's great. So my first question is, what inspired you to actually adapt Widow's Point into a film? Because I understand it was based on a novel.
Yeah, I have a friendship with one of the two authors, Richard Chizmar, and Rich, he's the owner of Cemetery Dance Publications, which does like a lot of Stephen King limited editions and specialized horror books. And Rich has actually done some Hollywood work. He wrote a couple of episodes of Masters of Horror, and he actually co-wrote the screenplay for Roadhouse 2.
Wow.
So he's based in Baltimore. I believe that his Hollywood experiences were such that he didn't really pursue that avenue, so he went the publishing route. He had invested in a few of my low-budget films like City Massacre and Killer Rack, and he knew that at least I would, respect his material and finish the film and get it out there. I mean, if it takes me years, I'll get them done and get them out there. So he provided me with an advanced copy of this book that he had co-written with his son Billy, who's a college student.
Awesome. So what I really enjoyed were the little stories that were involved, involving the lighthouse, and it felt like a bit of a mini anthology. And so how many stories in total were in the novel compared to what you brought out?
I'm guessing there were 10 or 12 total. I mean, it really laid out a whole history. And I picked the ones that were sort of interrelated, and then I tied them all together. With the ending of the film is not in the novella, which is sort of an ambiguous ending. So I came up with my own ending that tied all those stories in together. And I always figured, if the film's successful, if anybody wants to produce a sequel with us, we can always use the other stories in a sequel.
That's awesome. And I gotta say, it's great seeing Craig Sheffer again in horror, and he's great in this film. He played like this one successful author who's trying to get back on top, and just to see him slowly descend into madness through these stories, I thought was brilliant. What was it like working with him?
Well, he's a good friend of mine, first of all. We worked on a film called Battle Dogs, which was a sci-fi werewolf TV movie about 8 years ago. I was the assistant director on that, and he was the lead. And he optioned, as a result of our meeting, he optioned one of my books. And so we've been in touch together for years now and have become good friends. And he actually left Hollywood for 5 or 6 years to take care of his sick brother in Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
His brother was an Emmy-winning TV writer. And Craig basically put everything on hold to go take care of him. Not too far away from me, about a 6-hour drive. And we would talk on the phone regularly, and when the money came together for this, I knew we had to have like a real lead for that part. So I just gave him a call. I said, I know you're really tied up with your home situation, but if you can get away for a couple of weeks, I'd love for you to do this. He read the script that night, and we made a deal like right afterwards. And my guess would be that him being cooped up in the house taking care of his brother was something he was able to use in that performance, which I think is amazing. I think he's so good in the film.
That's awesome. And one of the interesting stories I found was your daughter being in it. what was it like? Is this like her first film? And if so, what was it like?
My daughter and Craig's daughter. Craig's daughter played the ghost in the bridal gown.
Oh, wow.
That's Willow Anwar, who's his daughter with Gabrielle Anwar. And a few of the other crew people also worked with some of their family members, so it was a really unusual family situation on this film. My daughter has had small parts in some of my other films. She had an extra when she was 3 years old in City Massacre, and a little bit of dialogue in one I did called Dry Bones, and she has a little monologue in Killer Rack, and she was in two different Fred Olin Ray, like Lifetime type movies, bit parts. Yeah. So this was her first substantial part. And when I read the novella and I saw that particular character, I knew right away that I was going to cast her. And since my wife produced the film, it was just a really unique experience for us to spend the summer working on this.
And I gotta say, she did a great job in the film, and I could see her continuing this and being successful down that road.
Oh, thank you. You're the first person to bring it up in the interviews I've done so far.
So,
I think she did a great job.
Yeah. So, how long did shooting take, and what challenges did you face during shooting?
We were scheduled for 16 days, and because money got tight, we ended up doing it in 15. And the challenge was that it was scheduled for 16 days, and we did it in 15. This is the 8th film I've done, and I've worked on a bunch for other people, so I know how to stretch a dollar. Yeah. And really the key is planning things out in advance, knowing how you're going to do things. There really weren't any major obstacles. It was an hour drive to the lighthouse every day, an hour back. The interior of the building attached to the lighthouse was actually in a house closer by. And for the main room, where Craig does a lot of his dramatic bit, the room under the lantern of the lighthouse, we built a set here in Buffalo. So really there weren't any obstacles once we started shooting. As is always the case, locations are up in the air until the last minute. And, I'm always pulling my hair out because if I have Craig Sheffer coming to town and I don't have a lighthouse, I'm screwed. So there's always some last minute stress over the locations.
Yeah, well, at least you pulled it off, and like I said, it came out to be a great movie. And I have to say, I loved Johnny Gruesome. That's still like one of my favorite movies in the last couple of years.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So with everything coming back in terms of film production, or even with your writing, is there anything new that you are currently working on, whether it's a novel or?
Well, sure. There are 3 screenplays that I've been working on for several years, but for the last year especially, I've been polishing 2 of them. And I wanted to do one of them this winter, and there's no way film production is going to be ready on this scale. It's very hard if you're not a multi-million-dollar film that can afford all the precautions necessary. In protecting cast and crew from COVID, and I'm desperate to make another film because I feel like I'm at the top of my game. But
yeah, it's like you got your groove, you got the groove going. You want to keep going.
Yeah, I really do, and I feel like one more and maybe I'll break through. That's what I tell myself on every film. But I feel it right now, and but they're just movies, and you can't take people's safety, for granted. Yeah. So I don't see the one that I want to do this winter happening. I have one set in the summer, so maybe a year from now I'll be able to get the next one going. I'm developing a horror film, an action film, and then something that Sheffer and I have been working on for a few years.
Interesting.
One of them will go.
Awesome. And I also understand...
Or something will come my way out of the blue, like Widow's Point did.
Right, and I also understand, I kind of read, I don't know if it's true, I heard that the Jake Helman Files is being developed into like a series or something?
I hope it happens.
Okay.
George Mahalka, who directed the original My Bloody Valentine,
classic.
He has done a ton of movies and TV series in Canada. He's based in Hamilton, Ontario, which is really an hour and 15-minute drive from me here in Buffalo. He optioned the right to those books. We developed a lot of material together. He hired some artists. I believe he attached an A-list star, and then he got the green light on another project that will keep him busy in Hungary for 2 years.
Oh, wow. So we're talking some time here then.
Yeah, it's already been 6 years, but I love George, and I believe he's going to be faithful to the material, so I want to ride it out with him. He got the go-ahead to do an $80 million fantasy TV series, sort of along the lines of Game of Thrones, and he believes that after doing the work on that, he's going to be in a good position to get this off the ground. So, fingers crossed. Yep. Because the Jake Helman Files is that's my pride and joy. That's the thing I'm most proud of, and I'm dying to see it get made.
That's awesome. So, Widow's Point is coming on September the 1st, and I think fans who miss Craig Sheffer will love seeing him again in this film. And anyone who loves your work, I know you're known for horror comedies, but to see you do this more serious take on the horror genre, I think it's great, and I think any horror fans should check this out. And once again, Gregory, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about this.
I appreciate you showing me interest.
All right, you take it easy, and I hope everything stays safe.
Stay safe from Florida.
All right, take care.
Take care, man.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.